they're probably looking for is any evidence that they can gather. Certainly any images, pictures, video, anything online. I've no doubt that they're going in and gathering up any electronic media, to include any laptops, any flash drives, anything that he might have that might support whatever allegations, whatever reasonable suspicion that they have that led to this these search warrants. Just to get a search warrant like this requires a certain substantial legal barrier has to be, or legal argument or legal litmus test has to be met just to get them to sign off. Particularly knowing with somebody with means like this, that if they go into their home, they're going to be met with some very capable lawyers on the defendant's part to challenge what was ever done, and everything they do there is going to be challenged.
After the raise that did these 2 homes, the rapper might be going to jail very soon. At least that's what the experts think.
If you were to ask them, they'd say it's going to take as long as it takes. These are huge properties. You can imagine looking through one home takes a lot of time, but when you have 3 very large buildings with a lot of different rooms, various different levels on those homes. Also, they're going to be looking at every nook and cranny. They'll be looking anything that's subsurface in the home. They'll be looking in basically everywhere they can. They could be using a variety of sensor systems to find out if there's any hidden compartments, safes, things like that, and walls that aren't readily apparent. I imagine it's going to take quite some time with a property this big for them to work through all of the potential spaces and places where various materials could be held.
The catch is this: the case against Diddy will be looked into for a long time. This is something I'm thinking about because the man has been charged with domestic violence, sex trafficking, drug pushing, and filming famous figures without their permission, among other things. The FBI will need some time to look into all of this information.
It is huge in that really this isn't the start of an investigation. This is, I don't want to say the end of the investigation because clearly he's innocent until proven guilty, but this is a point at which there is more than enough to now bring in the federal authorities. So really this group that came in to conduct this investigation is HSI. So they're part of the Department of Homeland Security, and they are the investigative arm. So they're investigating really transnational crime, transnational syndicates, as well as sex trafficking. And it's my guess that that is why they were involved in it.
Right now, there's enough proof and witnesses against Diddy for the rapper to spend the rest of his life in prison. And let's be honest, the stories coming out against him make that sentence seem like a joke.
Obviously looking into federal crimes. And this is an investigation that has definitely been put together meticulously, coordinated efforts in 2 different states coming out of the Southern District of New York. So this says that there's more, Jesse, than what we've read in civil complaints. That's not going to be enough for probable cause to go in, get a warrant, and conduct a raid. There's going to be those witness interviews, but my guess would be there's more than just that.
This raid has been a long time coming because of all the proof against Diddy that has been building up for years but has been ignored because Diddy would pay for all his crimes. It's sure to reveal some nasty truths about the guy.
Abuse. If you're okay. Are you okay with that? Okay. So obviously you terminated baby 1 because you loved him. How long after you guys started dating is when did the physical abuse start?
The first time it ever happened, which was not even like that long into the relationship, because I met him in February, and then it was probably like the beginning of May, because we were at Meek's Mill's birthday.
Okay.
He had like a mansion party, and we went, but while we were there, I was sitting here, and then Puff, and then Meek, but I was like covered with like a stand or something, like probably says like "Happy Birthday, Meek" or something like that, but it's like a little stand that like was covering me, because there was like a lot of cameras and stuff there. So it was like me, Puff, and Meek. Puff had like leaned forward to like talk to somebody, say hi or whatever. And so I turned over to Meek and I said, happy birthday. He put his hand out and then he was like, thank you. So I reached his hand and shook it. And as I shook Meek's hand, he turned around and saw it and he got so mad.
Wow.
And then we probably like stayed like 20 minutes after that happened. And then when we got in the car, he like grabbed my hair. We were in the one of those Escalade trucks.
Okay.
So I was sitting on this side, he was on the other side, and he like grabbed my hair and like cussed me out for doing that. He was like, why the fuck, can I cuss?
Yeah.
He was like, why the fuck you shaking his hand for, like, just saying stuff like that.
It was just
I was
like a jealous rage.
Yeah, I was like, I was just saying happy birthday, nothing else. I think he thought I was trying to be sneaky behind his back, because I like reached over when he like leaned forward to talk to somebody else. So he thought I was trying to be sneaky.
And you were how old at this time?
I was 22 probably.
Wow.
After Cassie filed a case, Gina Hunn, also known as Virginia V, one of Diddy's exes, went on record to say that the rapper physically abused her and forced her to end pregnancies.
Yeah.
Never seen it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. And look, I think the problem with that is, look, we're still at the initial stages. There's so much we don't know about this. But remember, we are talking about the feds going in here on what is possibly a sex trafficking investigation, possibly RICO charges. This will take some time. There are reports right now that people are being issued subpoenas in order to build up this investigation. If you take the allegations in these lawsuits as true, and I've read all of them, I believe the timing of it suggests that these plaintiffs are cooperating with the government. These are incredibly serious charges that would not only warrant this level of force, but also would be very, very problematic and possibly captured on this digital evidence. I mean, there was an allegation that Combs had cameras in all of his houses, captured everything, maybe as a potential form of blackmail. This is what they're going through right now, everything that they've recovered from the home.
And yet, Ashley, it seems each day we get new pictures of him biking around or hanging out with his kids. It seems he's trying to make sure that the public perception is nothing's wrong, I'm just going on with my life.
Well, on the one hand, I'm actually a little surprised that there was such an aggressive raid, and here we are, you know, what are we, 2 weeks now? No arrest, nothing like that. So I was a little surprised, but the more I look into it, first of all, I learned something new. There is a New York Police Department Rap Intelligence Unit. I learned that. And apparently the Rap Intelligence Unit played an integral part in the reason all of this firepower was brought out, because the civil suits that they assessed acknowledged an abundance of narcotics and weaponry, as Dave mentioned. And so I take real issue with someone who decides to bring in race, saying that, you know, let me read it. If these were the sons of a non-black celebrity, they would not have been handled with the same aggression. Stop it! It was not about the color of the person's skin. It was about the reports from the civil suits, 5 of them, saying what's inside those homes. It would have been the same for anyone else. And by the way, if you're going to rap about it and then you're going to live in that culture, you don't get it both ways. You can't decide that you celebrate guns and drugs and then be shocked if people worry that there are guns and drugs.
And you know, also there was talk, you know, again, his ex talking about her son as if he was the victim, and now we learned that there's a new lawsuit against the son, accusing him of sexual assault as well.
Damn, that's crazy. And with all this news coming out against Diddy, legal experts seem to think that the evidence found in his 2 homes is going to end up in a lot more charges, sort of rapper, than he's dealing with currently.
Lawsuits as being part of the sex trafficking investigation and possibly being part of a shooting that happened not 10 years ago in 2022. Another reason, by the way, when we saw the raids, I didn't immediately think they were arrested. I thought that they were possibly detained, but I wouldn't have been surprised if they were arrested based on allegations.
Dave, are you surprised at Ashley's point 2 weeks later? No charges?
No, because when you're dealing with a high-profile celebrity who can afford the best lawyers, you want to make sure all your T's are crossed and I's are dotted. The arrest, I do think, is coming. You don't do this and not lead to an arrest. It'll be very rare. So I think it's coming. It's just a matter of time.
And they have time. I mean, that's the thing is, it's not like he's going to go away. And I think this is one of the things we see. And Ashley, we see this a lot in the high profile cases we cover, is the public always wants immediate, right? They want to see an arrest tomorrow. Why didn't it happen yesterday? By the way, we saw this with Koberger, right? Everyone yelling at the Idaho authorities. Why didn't you arrest him? And then it turns out that they were methodically building up their case.
Yeah, and the word is that the rapper Cassandra Ventura is now reportedly cooperating with the authorities. She's the girlfriend, baby mama's ex, who sued Diddy, and one day later it was settled.
Yeah.
And the word is that she is a major cooperating witness on this. But I mean, honestly, the whole thing is just, it's very frustrating that someone brings race into this issue.
Yeah.
This is a serious case of potential sex trafficking, that's serious. And if there are weapons and drugs involved, I just take serious issue. But I do suspect that, as Dave said, there's going to be some kind of an arrest.
But here's the thing, not all the charges against Diddy are old. Some of them are from 2023 and 2022, which means that this clearly ain't a case of a former bad boy paying for his past crimes. If anything, it's a bad boy gone even worse.
Yeah, tell them stop bringing all the minors over here late at night. I live right next to him. He do too much. He be like buses, like big ass buses. You just see all type of shit hop out. Especially at nighttime, like around 3 o'clock in the morning. It gets wild. I'm his neighbor. When my basketball go over there, I just let it be because I don't want to knock on the door.
Even Diddy's neighbors acclaimed that the man was involved in highly shady business, bringing minors to his home in the dead of night and loading buses.
These are trafficking situations. They're not parties. So they're trafficking situations, and they're guised as a party, but they're not all really the fuck parties. So when Stevie J put out that video and said, this is what a real Diddy party looks like, yes, that's what a real Diddy party look like, because these are not parties, these are trafficking situations, and you motherfuckers are going down. I don't give a fuck how you paint it or what you want to do, bitch. You are going down, because listen, what they are doing, they're not trafficking. I don't feel like anybody over the age of 18. And I feel like 18 for them is too old. You're right, these are not parties. These are trafficking situations. And remember, I kept saying there's a manifesto, and the manifesto says what people like on there, what they're into, you know, like the whole pizza and pepperonis and hot dogs and sausage. Is that it's like a food list of and different shit like that. And you'll see their names and what they want next to it. And that's that kind of manifesto. And that's what's happening. Like they're picking up and dropping off. They're tunneling them under. They're bringing them in. When that little boy pulled up and was like, telling them to quit having all them underage girls over there. And I seen buses, and his mama came out and was like, no, this is my house. He just lying. No, he wasn't. But she already knew she didn't want no motherfucking smoke, bitch. They're bringing them in and they're tunneling them. And no, this is that kind of situation, bitch. I'm telling you. Because in my dream, when we were in that meeting in his house in my dream the other day, and I got up, we all got up and we were picking something up. I realized today, and I told Ari, I said, we were picking up guns. He's a different, listen, this nigga choreographs a lot of shit from dope houses to trafficking. And you are going to be found out. Like, this is not going to be a small bust, and they know it. Like, I'm telling you, everybody has something to lose. We're not just talking about videos, and again, there's over 200 of them, but excuse me, we're talking about documents, papers, manifestos, lists, warehouses of guns, and warehouses of where they keep certain things. Now, this is the key thing. If the police is listening, they're color coded. The colors are the codes. We talked about that a few years ago. The colors are the codes on how they're trafficking them. Like yellow would be like boats, and then blue would be by airplanes, and then like chartered buses and trucks. The colors, if you can't figure it out, the colors are how they're trafficking them. They're going to be doing a sweep. It's almost like some sort of sweep or roundup. But they have lists and manifestos. This is like documents, and it may be on like a computer system, but they have like its colors.
Some people seem to think that the diddler crazy freak-off parties that are everywhere on the news right now were actually just fronts for sex trafficking with all the Dye's friends involved, and the evidence that the FBI is covered in his homes is going to prove that.
For the white parties in the Hamptons, it initially started out the Hamptons. It was not Miami in the beginning, and you know, of course I say yes.
Okay, all right, cool.
And initially I was saying yes to please my ex. It wasn't even for Diddy, because he booked the Sean John campaign, so he was telling me be nice to Diddy, so I can make sure I keep the campaign going, because Diddy asked to suck his, and he didn't do it. He was a LA nigga, He didn't do it. And so Diddy only hired me because I was additional, whatever. I mean, only hired me on there, but he didn't want to hire him on the Sean John campaign until I agreed to do the white parties.
Oh, okay. Now we're going to definitely say allegedly. I wasn't there.
Allegedly,
okay,
yes.
Cool.
Allegedly,
all right,
yes,
and you're
yes.
saying Diddy allegedly asked your ex-boyfriend.
I was there at the audition. We were in the waiting room.
Okay.
And we were waiting. One of his homeboys that had been in our apartment several times came out rushing mad. Like, what the He was like, I'll talk to you later. He rushed to the elevator. We sitting in the lobby like, what? And he was like, I'll talk to you later. He was like, whatever. Long story short, my ex, Anthony Gallo, goes in the room and he comes out yelling, fuck that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'll talk to you in the elevator. And we get to the elevator. He's like, nigga tried to ask me to suck his dick. I said, who asked you to suck his dick? He said, Diddy. I said, fuck that. But then after that, he booked him anyway because I agreed to dance at the white party.
Now these parties were basically where Diddy was free to do anything to anybody he wanted to, because not only was he filming people to blackmail them later, this dude was also drugging him without consent to make him perform sexual acts.
All I have to say is about Sean is it's not my world. I don't understand any of that world. I don't pretend that I do.
But I don't think this is necessarily a hip-hop related issue.
No, he lives in a total different world. I don't know what he does.
Sure, but you've also been in a position to see entertainers, famous people taking advantage of young girls. You've seen it.
Yeah.
So to say that you know nothing about it, I think is an
nothing
inaccurate.
about his case, Mum should say.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it comes down to this: guilty people run.
Now it's clear that everybody in Hollywood knows all the stuff that he's involved in, but for some reason, all of them are way too scared to speak up against the dude.
So that is one pattern. If you look at the case in New York with the nightclub shooting, where his protege Shine took the case instead of Diddy. Diddy allegedly had J-Lo smuggle that pistol into the club, and that was cleaned up. He was never charged for it.
Now, Diddy's also known to use his money to shut up anybody who plans on coming out against him, and that's how he's continued to reign over the music business while committing these heinous crimes. In fact, he's totally okay with other people taking a fall for him, as long as he gets off.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Ahmadai Shakur. So Diddy has filed a motion to get one of the cases against him dropped, the one by Joy Dickerson-Neal, because he says that when she filed the case and she's claiming that he did things to her in 1991, he said one of the laws wasn't even a thing. So let's get into it. Joy Dickerson-Neal sued Diddy in November, claiming that he SA'd her and also gave her illegal substances without her consent back in 1991. Now, Diddy's claiming that he cannot be sued under laws that didn't even exist at the time of the alleged incident. Please pay attention. Joy Dickerson-Neal filed 6 causes of actions against Diddy, and his attorneys are saying that she can't sue for some of the claims because of the laws not being in existence. For example, the New York Services for Victims of Human Trafficking law. That didn't take effect until 2007. They say that's approximately 16 years after the alleged incident. Please pay attention. I think someone needs to remind Mr. Combs, because clearly he seems to have forgotten, that the laws that Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby were sued under also didn't exist at the time of the alleged incidents. Okay, please pay attention. Diddy, you're not getting out of this. Okay, it's a wrap. I mean, you're just done.
Now Diddy's once again trying his best to make sure he gets off scot-free, which might be why he's trying to get one of the cases against him dropped. But gone are the days when the rapper could use money to make all of his problems go away.